everybody. Today I'm going to tell you a little bit about what it's like to be a child in Denmark during Christmas. Stay tuned. Hi there and welcome back. If you're new to my channel, my name is Kelly and I'm an American living in Denmark, and I'm a mom. I have two little boys. So a little bit of what I'm going to be telling you about my experiences raising kids or being a child in Denmark during the Christmas time has to do with the experiences that they're having while we're living in Denmark. But I'm married to a Danish guy. And my husband lived in a very small village in the southern part of Denmark, growing up in the 1980s and 90s. And so I have a little bit of his experiences also to kind of pull from when I'm talking about traditions. And the thing is that a lot of the traditions that we have in our house that are Danish come from him. So if you're wondering where am I getting my information, it's a combination of my husband's upbringing in southern Denmark and what my children are going through right now. We live in Midtjylland, which is the center of the peninsula. So keep that in mind throughout the video. And especially if you come from a place that is different from where we're from, let me know in the comments if any of these traditions are the same or different for you depending on where you live or maybe when you were a child. I'd love to know about that in the comments. Before I get started, if you haven't already, could you please consider subscribing to my channel? I would love to have you along for all of my videos. Ring the bell so you get notifications whenever I post new videos. That would be so great to have your support as a subscriber, so please consider doing that. Now, I posted another video talking about the 9 things I love about Danish Christmas tradition. So I'm going to try to make sure that this video is different from that because in a way there are a lot of things that are similar. I'm going to put a link to that video up here if you want to check that out next. I also have written a blog post that talks about all the different ways that the Danes will count down from December 1st to December 24th and how we've kind of been roped into those traditions as well. So if you want to get an idea of what those are laid out in detail, you can check that out on my blog. Here's a link to my blog, but more specifically, you're gonna get the exact link in the description, so check that out. Okay, so what does it mean to be a child in Denmark during the Christmas time? What is it that is special? What is it that they do? And in this case, when I think about it, I think of what is it that happens maybe every year. Number one, this is something that happens every year at school, so you as a parent don't have to worry about it. Your kids are going to get exposure to this. This is something that they deal with without you, so no pressure. That is the Juleklippedag. One day in either the end of November or the beginning of December, all the kids in the class, and it might be that the school's doing this, the whole school. It could be that certain sections of the school are doing it at different times. I'm not quite sure if it differs from school to school. I know that normally at our school here, the kids all have it on the same day, but because of the corona restrictions, they changed that this year. During Juleklippedag, that is just a day that is set aside by the teacher, the school, whatever, to decorate the classroom. So my kids are in grades 4 and 2 right now, and for Juleklippedag, they will not have any of the regular classes. They will go to school to decorate. So they'll be cutting things out of paper, they'll be creating trees and reindeer and snowmen and all kinds of different things. And what they create in class is going to be used to decorate the classroom. I think that is such a really cute idea. You know, it really gets them in the mood. Everything in Denmark is about creating a type of atmosphere, this sense of hygge. And I really love that they have that tradition here in Danish schools. Number 2, if you are a child in Denmark, you're probably going to be eating, if not one time, multiple times in the month of December, æbleskiver. Æbleskiver, we kind of describe as being like these pancake balls that you would eat with jam and powdered sugar. If you are Danish and you put something else with your æbleskewer, let me know. But I remember my first Christmas here after we had moved to Denmark, that we were at some sort of Christmas event and they had æbleskewer, and I thought, oh great, I'm gonna get some. I don't know why I thought for some reason that this is the only opportunity I'm ever going to have them. They're pretty much at every Christmas event. It's very, very funny, but I guess, you know, if you go to any other country and they have a specific type of food that they associate with Christmas, you're gonna see that a lot during the month of December. And that most definitely is something that will be part of your childhood if you live in Denmark during Christmas, eating lots and lots of æbleskewer. Another thing that is kind of similar, I guess you would say, to what we would do in the United States, we would have a day where we bake Christmas cookies, right? Or we would decorate Christmas cookies. And Christmas cookies, I know from my childhood in the US, it's always been, you know, a very nice tradition, because obviously when you're done, you get to eat cookies. In Denmark, they don't traditionally have the same type of Christmas cookies, obviously, that we would have in the US. They would most likely make these little, they're like this big. It's hard to describe, but it's almost like a hard cookie. It's called pellenødder. I know I'm saying that wrong. My kids would be in the background correcting me. But it's just these little, kind of like a gingerbread, kind of like a little gingerbread ball cookie or something. Those, my kids have always made in like daycare and school. It's something that's really popular, but I also think it might be quite simple for kids to make. Probably I should be making a video on how to make those, and then maybe I'll learn how to pronounce it correctly. Good idea. I don't know who I'm talking to. Another one is confect. And if I asked my husband, which I actually did the other day, I said, what's your favorite kind of like Christmas treat and everything? And he said confect. And for me, it's probably my least favorite. In fact, I don't like it at all because I don't like marzipan. And I think marzipan to maybe someone living in Europe or like Germany, Denmark, maybe for example, is the equivalent to peanut butter in the United States. It's something you grow up with. It's maybe an acquired taste. I'm not hating on anybody for liking marzipan. I just don't like it. I don't know why. It's just not something that I think tastes very good. But if you want to make confect, that is so easy. And so it's something that a lot of kids do. You will take some marzipan and you would, you know, maybe roll it into a ball. You would make it into some kind of shape, and then you would dip it into like melted chocolate. Then you would let the chocolate kind of harden onto the marzipan, and there you go. Another thing that you know you're definitely a child in Denmark for Christmas time is that you do something to count down Christmas. And again, I said I have a post on this on my blog where I go into more detail. I have pictures. I even have in my Christmas playlist on YouTube some videos where I talk about different ways that we counted down for Christmas. We had a beer advent calendar, we had Lego advent calendars, and even chocolate ones. So you can check out what kind of advent calendars you can find here in Denmark. I know that in the US, it was always like here in Denmark, we have like this really cheap one, right? It's really thin, it has the teeny tiny squares of chocolate, and it's really, yeah, it's just really cheap. That's kind of what we would have in the US. I think maybe we're trying to get newer versions, but we don't have anything quite like what you can get here in Denmark. They have a lot of different types of these advent calendars. But that's something, you know, a child might have, or they might get presents every single day in the month of December. Or they might just get Advent presents, which is a present every Sunday. If they get one or the other, or maybe all of the above, that's something that's very Danish. I never had anything like that growing up. Again, things are changing in the US because we like to adapt to, you know, the traditions of other countries and things. But we didn't have anything like that as a kid. I remember we would make like crafts. Maybe it was like the face of Santa with a bunch of numbers down here. And then every day we would glue like a cotton ball on, which was kind of like part of his beard. that was what we would do to count down for Christmas. It was never a getting a present kind of thing. For in our house right now, we actually will do the advent calendars, you know, so it's like one thing a day, but maybe it's like a Lego advent calendar or it's a chocolate one. I don't go out and buy my kids presents for them to unwrap every day. I think that's a bit overkill. I know that there are people who do it, you know, you do you, but personally, I don't want to take away from like the gift that they'll get for Christmas or like the suspense that's built up every day of December. So we don't do anything big like that. We just do whatever came in the box that we bought for the advent calendar. So there's that, there's the candle. Like I said, check out my post and you can see all of the different ways that they count down the countdown, the Christmas Yule calendar show or whatever it's called. The show is something we most definitely watch every day in December. So go onto my blog, check the link in the description, and then you'll get more information on that. But ways of counting down to Christmas, very much something that the kids in Denmark do. One thing that they do here in Denmark, it's daycare, it's schools, they will go to church, and it's usually during school. So it's kind of like maybe one of the last few days that's really close to Christmas break starting. They will walk to church and really, you know, it'll be kind of like a little service, but for the most part, they're just there singing. I have heard from some other expats that they're not comfortable with their children, I don't know, being exposed to religion like that. I think it's because when you come from another country, we have so many different religions. Then you come to Denmark and everything's Lutheran, you know? Like I myself am not Lutheran, but I have no problem with my children experiencing something that's Danish because I don't really know many Danish people who feel that they're religious. So I see them walking to church and singing the songs and being around it. Maybe they're making decorations to hang up in the church. I see it as being a part of the community, and I see it as doing a tradition of what is common in our local area. So I don't know, you know, I think it's also quite cute because it's something good that they're doing. That might be something that you'll hear about maybe even after the fact. Your child might come home and say, hey, we went to church today. Yeah, you may never take your children to church, but chances are if they live in Denmark and it's during the Christmas time, they'll be going to church with school or with their daycare. With that a little bit is that there's also this holiday called St. Lucia, which is on December 13th. And this is something that you might see celebrated in your church if you go, but it tends to be something that is also celebrated at school. And again, you know, it's something that's Lutheran. I mean, growing up in my church, we never celebrated this holiday. It was something that was only really celebrated by Catholics. But it's something that is, again, I look at it as being a traditional Danish thing. The boys and the girls will have these white gowns and we'll walk around with candles. And my son actually got to do it last year. And I'm telling you, I was so excited. You know, not so much because, you know, it had some sort of religious significance for me because I never grew up with that. But to me, it just feels like this is something kids do that live in Denmark. And I was really excited that my son was able to be a part of it. I know that the kids in the school get to watch the kids who walk and they have to do the singing and everything. But to actually be one of the people who has to put on the white gown and carry the candle, I think that's really cool. So that's definitely something that is, in my opinion, very Danish. Even though I know some Americans who do it, but not everybody. This is something that you would see in pretty much every school in Denmark. Another thing that I think is adorable, and let me know if you are a student in Denmark or if you know students in Denmark about this next one, because my kids will always come home with a handmade Christmas craft. I know that when I was a kid in the US, we would have kind of like this traveling, I don't know, store that would be set up in some classroom in my school, and then the kids would all be encouraged to bring like a couple of dollars to go around and shop for their grandparents or parents or something in the store. So of course it was always something small, you know, like a magnet. I think everybody got a magnet one year when it was me shopping in that store. But with this, it's always so funny because they like to do things with recycling here, and they're always really big into crafty things in Denmark. So every year my children make crafts or make gifts for people in the family. Usually it's the grandparents. Usually it's my mother-in-law and my parents who tend to get these things. So this could be in school during, you know, when they have a special week in school where it's kind of a Christmas theme, they may be making gifts. This could be after school in their SFO program. I have seen a lot of, you know, kids in this one room that's called Werkstel, you know, and the parents aren't allowed to go in because they're in there making their Christmas crafts. Adorable. And then also my kids go to Scouts, so you never know what you're going to get. You know, it could be something that they whittled out of wood, or it could be some type of, I don't know, I think we got a light, like a hanging light that was made out of like a coffee tin. I don't know, there's so many different things, but it's definitely something that it's not just one time, you know, like they only get one chance to do this. It happens often. These are very creative. They're very creative here. Another thing, if you are a parent to a child here in Denmark, you would probably know that the kids open up all the presents on the 24th. In the US, the 25th is the day that we open up presents. So in our house, we do Danish Christmas and we do American Christmas, but you'll know that that is something that is expected. The kids are expecting their presents most definitely on the 24th. Also, they normally will have the youngest child at, you know, at the gathering. Let's say, you know, you have a house with a bunch of cousins and everything. The youngest child will be the one to pass out the gifts that are underneath the tree. So those two things combined are very typical for children in Denmark during Christmas. Another thing that is pretty much goes without saying, right, is that there will be specific children's songs that it seems that almost every child will know for Christmas. I'm actually making a video that talks about some Christmas songs that you would sing, especially on Christmas Eve, because there's that time when they dance around the Christmas tree. There are some that we sing every year when we go around the tree. Those are ones that kids just know. If you want to have that full-fledged experience with your children, and maybe you're an expat like myself, you might want to check out that video so you can learn a couple of Christmas songs that you can sing this year with your kids. All right, that's about all I have for this video. I'm sure there are lots more traditions that, you know, that I'll probably think of later on that I'm like, oh man, I didn't include that one in the video. I'm gonna have to, you know, put something in the comments below, but be sure that you're putting some things in the comments. Did what I say sound pretty traditional to you if you're Danish? Let me know if there's any differences out there or similarities. If you come from a different part of Denmark, is there something that's very special? I know for us, we live in the middle of the peninsula, and we live on the Gulen Å, which is the longest river in Denmark. And Santa often comes to our town on a canoe. So that's something that I think is really kind of cute and really special for our area. But do you have something that you remember from your Danish childhood, or something that you're working in with the Christmas traditions for your kids? Let me know about it in the comments. I really appreciate that you came along in this video. Please be sure to check out my Christmas playlist down below and the videos that I have in there. I'll be posting more this year in December. And if you haven't already, again, please consider subscribing. Go ahead and hit that like button if you like Christmas. Give me a thumbs up. And don't forget to ring the bell to get notifications when I post new videos, especially for Christmas in Denmark. I hope you have a Merry Christmas and a Glædelig Jul, and I hope to see you in another video. Take care.